What's up guys, it's Nier Reincarnation, and today we have the Subjugations. What's up guys, it's Nier Reincarnation, and today I'm bringing you guys everything you need to know to build your deck around Subjugations and how a little bit of how Subjugations work, but primarily we're going to stick to deck force in this video and just everything you need to make your decks the best they can be for when you go out to do the Subjugations and battle the cursed gods. But first, let's actually talk a little bit about it if you haven't watched my previous video. So Subjugation battles are basically giant battles against cursed gods, and you're not actually defeating them, you're just trying to earn as much damage as possible so that you can rack up your high score, or just your score. And for each and every one, you get one attempt a day, and it always resets at midnight, so you won't really be able to complete all 3 quests within one day for one of the cursed gods, if that makes any sense. But one thing I've noticed that's very interesting is that they actually all end on the 25th, so I guess new cursed gods come in. I don't know if they're going to be any different because it looks like the cursed god fire here, all of them use powerful skills that strike one party member, and just so show you guys I'm not pulling your legs here, they all do the same thing but with different elements. But all of them are severely weak to their weakness affinity, which is very important to keep in mind. But I have a whole other video on it, so you guys can go check that out. But we're going to talk about Subjugation deck force building today. So there's 3 things you're going to want to look out for when you're building a deck for Subjugations. The first is, of course, your total force. You're going to try to get your total force as high as possible so that you can deal out the most amount of damage and rack up the most points, obviously, so you can get more rewards, which is always nice. Next is going to be your affinity. You want to make sure that you have a deck built around every affinity so you're ready to take them on when you have to. Very important. And also, cannot forget your characters and passives. So, again, honestly, you kind of can treat this like PvP almost, since again, like PvP, you're trying to dish out as much damage as possible, you're trying to always attack first, you're always trying to go at it and be as aggressive as possible, and you're going to want to build your builds around just that. So maybe your fleet foot and haste are definitely going to come in handy in these scenarios in Subjugations when you're battling these cursed gods, especially when you get that knockdown and you just have that time when time literally pauses and you just go at it. It's very, very helpful to have basically haste on. So I'm just going to show with my reg. This is my default loadout. I'll usually base all my loads around it since I have the highest total force, and then I'll just go down from there if I have to make a build according to the affinity. But I'll use light as an example since I have a ton of dark weapons and dark weapons on this character. Yeah, this is definitely Dark Souls run, yeah. Okay, on this light build, so starting off, you guys might be wondering, why the hell am I not using any dark force for A2? And you kind of have to make the decision on your own if it's worth using, say, a dark weapon that is level 1, and maybe you don't have enough pulls, or maybe you have never pulled a 4-star dark weapon of the right proficiency, so maybe you might end up having to go down to a 3-star weapon that's level 1 because you might not have the available resources to upgrade it to get to a viable enough level, and sometimes you just have to make the choice on your own if it's worth even trading it out for this extra total force and damage. But make sure that all of your waves and decks are built around trying to be the opposite affinity so you have the advantage. Do not use the same affinity or weakness, please. That should just be an obvious given. But yeah, so against light I'm going to use dark. And Theo, already have her, she's perfect. Celebratory Girl. Void Rush increases dark affinity weapons, and then we have the Wicked bottles, which increases dark damage up anyways, and I believe Wicked, okay, that increases attack, but Wicked Render, okay, no, never mind, it's just these 2 passes. But yeah, again, not just affinity and your character's level, or levels to everything, but also passes are extremely important. And A2, Vigor and Ambush are really good to have because criticals can help you where you lack in the affinity advantage department, which is very good. So I still do value critical damage over, well, um, affinity in the case of A2 because she is a critical attacker. I do have 2B as well, who again has really good passives, which is always nice. And I have, of course, have my tormented eviscerator, and this is another really good one because we get the same passives as 2B, and we still get nice damage and agility inputs and increases. And of course, I do have my, okay, well, maybe not Garnet here, but I do have my Dark Affinity characters, or yeah, characters, companions as well, which are very nice. And memoirs, I would personally put around critical damage, in my opinion, critical and attack. I think that's like for every good memoir, you're going to want to have that, so very important. But now, as we make our way down the list, we're going to have less and more limited amounts for what we can really work with. And around this point, I would hope that you might have some level 90 and 80 characters. I know Papa Nier Argo from the Nier Replicant remake event, you could get him up to level 90 very easily, and his weapon as well, which for the fire subjugations is very good. Also, Blackbird Lance is excellent. I believe these two are both from the events, which is also very nice. But I'm using Tormented Floor because 5-star Dark and it's level 85. Why would I not? Could use a bit of upgrade with the passives though, for sure. But again, very nice. And I have Green Vase because, you know, everything's got to go with the Nier Replicant Gestalt theme. And also Darkness. And I'm going to stick primarily to Dark for this video just because, like, I have the best presentation with all of this. But tricks up your sleeve because you might already have weapons and characters that are upgraded outside of your usual well, gang you might use. Like I primarily use these three girls here for basically everything, and then I just upgrade and get their total force as high as possible. So you might actually have characters like Papa Argo near here, and Galay and 2B, or yeah, 2P, which I do use. I did use her a lot at the beginning, and I know I don't make darks on her, but again, I have to make the, well, decision whether or not I think it's worth somebody like 2B who's on the higher end having it rather than 2P. Even though I do believe, do I have one for 2B? Let's just check really quick. Okay, no I don't. I would end up probably using the Perfect Justice Stage 9, so close to Stage 10. But we're going to get into that in another video with the rewards and everything. This is just, again, for your deck. So, yeah, you are going to have to make some calls whether or not you want to keep these weapons within certain characters, because as waves go down, starting off strong is good, but, and of course carrying out what you can through the middle. But what about the end? Well, at the end is where you can get a bit more creative, because you might have a lot of different utilities, weapons, maybe even event weapons laying around that you can utilize here, and this is where it really does shine, because almost every time I'm able to put together a full affinity build on my third wave. So I have Bicha Keha here, or Summer Assassin Keha, Abject Captain Griff, and Divergent Oddity Emil. So, and I could, yes, I could indeed use Big Boy here, Fractured Prisoner, who is a bit more stronger. Okay, it might not look stronger, but he is stronger than Emil in some sense, but not everyone. I like to stick to Emil, even if he isn't, well, level 90. Though I would like to get him to level 90, but that's besides the point. I like Emil a lot for ending strong because of his character ability passive, which is dealing 260% damage once, depending on combo length. I know that there isn't any damage multiplier bonus when you get into shutdown, but if you can put up a combo with Emil, and you have Emil maxed out with Emil Crystal at level 15, dealing 520% damage depending on your combo length, which you might have 999 combo length and 400% damage increase. And that can lead to some really, really sick shit there. And basically, okay, I just read that from Emil's story on accident, but whatever. Anyways, I do believe that you can get a bit more strategic at the end by using what you have, at least in my case. Abstract Captain Griff, Controlled Incineration, not going to be too helpful since we're only fighting one enemy in Subjugations. But I do like Akeha, because in Dominant, damage taken, again, not much, but Vigor is always good. Brine Spray, I originally thought it was going to be good, but you really got to land a critical hit, so you might want to end up putting some critical. And honestly, everybody should have level 15 memoirs. I actually had enough to get all 9 of my characters having 15 memoirs, or level 15 memoirs, from previous events, and I'm sure you probably do too if you were able to sack them and play enough. But even if you don't, there's still other ways to get around it too. Again, by your third wave, you're pretty much going to be at the point where you got to get creative with whatever you have. But it's also at a point where I think you can make it the strongest depending on what you have. Again, using Emil by having Griff, Akeha, and Emil use their regular character abilities, and then ending it off with the main passive that Emil has, or main character skill. Like, I've shown in my other video, even if it wasn't the most amazing, but I think for having the lowest total force and not the highest levels, it still does deliver what it honestly shouldn't be for its total force, comparing it to, 119,000 total force. But you can always get creative and figure it out for yourself, depending on what affinity you're going after. I do have one for everyone. We have dark here. I have as much light as I can. Again, if I have to fudge, because I don't want to end up losing too much total force, because I've swapped to weapons where I don't have like any total force. Like, I'm losing like 8,000 to 10,000 total force. I'm like, it's just not worth it. I'd rather just not be at the advantage or disadvantage or equal resistance of the opponent and just have mediocre damage, rather than having a resist or just doing like no damage at all, if that makes any sense. But yeah, also X Water, if you did the Abyss Tower event, you might have been able to get quite a few good weapons from there, or upgrades. Actually, I really utilized Galay, so I was able to get her weapon, which I believe is a wind weapon, a wind one-hand sword, which 2B's using right here, which is very good. The Retro Blade, I was able to get that pretty high. So from past events, you might already be set for some of these. But again, it all depends on what you've been doing and what your RNG's been like with the pulls. Hopefully good. I pray for you that it's good, because honestly, another really good thing, now that I've pretty much gone over everything I really needed to, is if you want to make life a bit easier, you might have already known this, but if you go to deck list and say you want to create a new deck, unfortunately you can't just copy the whole, and if I'm wrong, please let me know how, but you cannot just copy like the whole deck, unfortunately, the 3-4 deck. You actually have to take each individual one, copy it, and then paste it, and then just do that with the other two that you want. And it's a bit tedious, but that's why this regular one, there we go. I have this regular one up, because I want to be able to have just a default I could go to that's as high as I can get in total force, and then I'll, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'll build it off of that, and that just kind of makes life easier. But there's a lot of really good item shop events going on here, limited time packs. Conquest has some things you should invest in. However, keep in mind, if we go to the summons right now, there's an elemental for each one. Me personally, I'm not too worried about it, though I do wish I had the abstract gunman, but I'm more focused on getting our best Divergent Sister 0 here than anything else right now. But in another video, we're going to be talking more about rewards and all that. But I think, but for like the third time, I know I love Big Booty, but anyways, enough of the cringe. I think that's everything that you guys need to know about subjugations in deck building in Nier Reincarnation. let me know in the comment sections below if there's anything I missed. You have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Also, be sure to hit a like on the video if you did enjoy or got value from the content. Make sure to subscribe for my next videos I do on Nier Reincarnation, because we still have quite a bit to talk about subjugations in Nier Reincarnation. So you want to make sure that you're staying up to date by hitting that notification bell so you're the first when my videos comes out, or you're the first to see when my videos come out. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end of the video. I love you guys so much, and peace out.